Good morning, friends. It's Perrin Lovett, and this is Prepper Post News for Tuesday, November 24th, 2020. Welcome back. It's Happy Thanksgiving week, and we've got getting straight to our featured story of the day. As usual, please leave us a good comment thread section down in the under the video in YouTube. And today, all of the stories I cover can be found at freedomprepper.com and possibly down in the description of the video just below here and just above your comments. You guys are just doing great lately with those, so we want to keep it going. Want to know what you think. And today, I again wrestled with which topic to feature, and I went with the one that I had originally gone with because it's been in the news the past couple of years, especially this year, and it's just popped up here recently. But it's a long-standing, comprehensive subject, and it is debt cancellation. And specifically, the story today is all about student loan forgiveness. I'm going to get into that. Got some stories, but if you understand the way the American economy is structured today in the 21st century, it's all based on fake money, debt-issued paper electronic money from the Federal Reserve. I make the bold argument that we don't even have real money anymore because real money historically was gold and silver, or it was a paper receipt that was linked to gold and silver, in some way supported by something that was intrinsically valuable in and of itself, and also that was very rare. These ones and zeros that are not U.S. dollars, by the United States Code, they are not lawful currency. They're just ones and zeros in a computer. A couple of them make it into your wallet on pieces of paper that do not say United States dollar. They say Federal Reserve note. And the law is clear that Federal Reserve notes may be redeemed at the Treasury or at a Federal Reserve Bank for lawful currency, which means they are not lawful currency. The Treasury doesn't issue money anymore. I just wrote a paper about this. Got to check the publication date on that. I'll probably link to it at FP. Very good read. But the last president who ordered money, real money, to be made by the United States government under Article 1 of the Constitution, lost part of his head in the streets of Dallas. But be that as it may, what we have is mass fakery, which has inflated the money supply out of control. It's led to all those price increases that I've previously talked about, and it's led to a cutting in half of real wages over the last 70 years. So, and about the legal definition of money, a student loan, promissory note, or any loan contract that you might sign today is denominated in USDs, United States dollars. You sign here and we'll lend you X dollars for whatever purpose. You pay it back with usurious interest. The problem is there are no US dollars to lend. The lender certainly doesn't have any. So instead, they pay you with Federal Reserve notes, which technically don't exist either until they're printed up because of the loan. So it's an impossibility and a fraud compounded by the fact that the money for the loan, using money very loosely here, is created by the loan itself. You, on the other hand, have to work for 2, 5, 10, 30 years, slaving away, giving up part of your life to pay it back. It's a vicious cycle, and it looks something like, well, really slavery. There's a reason in the written article today I call this a possible debt jubilee. Biblically, every so often, debts were just scrubbed away, and whether they were real or fake, back then they were usually based on hard currency. We're overdue for one. And this is not just something that's Christian in nature. or even Western. It's a universal concept, although most of the examples that I know best are Western. For instance, I think Tacitus, we'll say it was Tacitus, told us about a meeting between a young man in Rome and Cato. And the young man was very ambitious, and until recently, ambitious was not a positive accolade. He asked the senator, Senator, what is the most honorable profession a man can enter into? And Cato said, to raise cattle with great success. The young man said, well, what's the next most honorable profession? Cato said, to raise cattle with little success. So the young man just skipped to what he really wanted, and he says, well, how about money lending? And Cato said, how about murder? And there's a reason why under Christian law, usury falls under the sixth commandment, because it's a slow partial taking of part of somebody's life. In our case today, to pay back something that doesn't even exist. So it's a little more complicated than all of that, although it's really about that simple. I got some stories to support this. I do want to know what you think. Don't go into personal detail unless you want to. Take a position for or against, be neutral, talk about one of the other stories today. Just let us know. But here are some debt-line stories in the news. I guess since about March, we've got 37 million people paying back student loans, and all the payments were suspended because of what the virus did. And now that's coming to an end, even though we're told the virus is worse than ever, and honestly, the economy's not much better. So what are people to do? And remember, they say you can't bankrupt these things. That's not exactly true. The law and the case law say otherwise, but it's a very rocky road, and that's why people are talking about student loan forgiveness. Now, crazy Uncle Bernie Sanders, I guess, started this, if not last year, then I guess in the 2016 campaign. Elizabeth Warren jumped on the bandwagon, and now allegedly Joe Biden is thinking about it. Now, you may not know, but the AP has decided that Joe Biden won the presidential election, and if he's sworn in, he may have to wrestle with this. For his part, Donald Trump and the GOP could have picked this idea up and run with it. The time was ripe. They did not. So if Biden takes a look at it, we'll see what happens. I have a funny feeling, not much, because the people who, the commercial banks and the central bank, are extraordinarily powerful, and they like to get their way. And it's kind of like George Carlin said, we know what they want. They want more for themselves and less for everybody else. And that's what this is. The past 107 years, they have essentially sucked all the real value, the ownership, out of everything, and they just left everybody else holding a fake bag of debt that needs to go, in my opinion. It's funny, we're talking about student loans, and we've got this great year of upheaval in all schools, including colleges. And a college education was not recently what it has been at all. So we've got people like the Wall Street Journal staff rethinking what it means to go to college, if people should go, and what they might do as an alternative. So take a look at that. And we even have somebody weighing in from the Vatican. I keep seeing a reference to a Pope Francis, and I'm not sure who that is. I know we have Pope Benedict, but they see Pope Francis says, and then they put up a picture of Jorge Bergoglio. But anyway, Bergoglio says he's encouraging young people to reset the economy, and that's a great idea. Young people tend to be the most powerless to do things like that, and I'm not exactly sure what he's talking about, but those young people, along with everybody else, would greatly benefit from a kind of reset, although not the great reset that so many nefarious kinds of people are talking about. Moving on into, well, no, we can't move on because it's 2020, and only one story is allowed to dominate the headlines: the coronavirus. But we do have somebody from the Catholic Church, a bishop, who is talking about the vaccine. And I know what you guys think about it. That was the best set of comments just about ever. But this bishop, I think out of California, is urging caution to the faithful concerning the vaccine. Excuse me, the vaccine bandwagon. His main concern is that in a lot of these medical tests and a lot of drug development, they use human stem cells. And where do they get them from? Well, from murdering babies. Now, one of the drug companies with this alleged vaccine has come out and stated that they don't use those. There's no stem cell use whatsoever in their medicine. That may or may not be the case. But it's interesting that we have at least one leader, and he's not alone, who's urging some restraint and some caution. And that's always a good thing. It's always good to be skeptical of these new claims. It's also mighty good to be skeptical of claims from drug makers, because it's a big club. You're not necessarily in it. Take a look at that. Also with the coronavirus, this is Thanksgiving week, and the CDC is encouraging everybody to stay home, not to travel, not to gather, not to celebrate, just to, remain shut in as you have since March, because we know that Thanksgiving is a super spreader event. Just like, I guess, motorcycle rallies, football games, Trump rallies most certainly were known super spreader events. You and 20,000 rioters at a peaceful protest, that's okay. That doesn't matter. But this is an AP story. And I cannot stress enough, because I know YouTube will help me. AP has decided the 2020 presidential election for Joe Biden, if you didn't already know that. But take a look at their story. Sometimes they do have some honest reporting. Got some reporting. This is an interesting story about the virus from Bloomberg. And I noticed, originally we were told that somewhere in Wuhan there was a fish market and somebody ate either a bat sandwich or a bat soup or some kind of bat-esque crazy nonsense, and that's where the virus came from. That fell apart. The narrative changes as it always does. But early on, I started reading some Chinese medical studies, and there was one from a doctor at the Wuhan Institute of Virology, trying to do a dissection of what this virus is and whether it's different than all the others, how it came to be. She's back in the news, and her name is She. I guess that's how you pronounce it. She is a she, and she's called China's Batwoman. And I guess they put up the coronavirus signal in the sky, and she comes out with her virus-proof outfit, which is not a mask. It's a rubber suit with an air supply. But she's been doing real research while other people have been encouraging this and that. She's been in the lab working, and she's noticed that there are some genetic characteristics that just don't match up. And her conclusion is that, it didn't come from her institute. Don't blame her. She just doesn't know. And that's a great point. None of us really know. So take a look at that in Bloomberg. More things we don't know. I call this section Clandestine Operations. I think we have 16 or 17 intelligence agencies in the United States, the intelligence community, and it's kind of a misnomer because, if you look at it in totality, there's not a lot of intelligence in the intelligence community. But the big figurehead is the CIA, which is supposed to be clandestine overseas operations, both of the spying variety and of the blatantly illegal direct action kind. The U.S. wants a war, but they don't want to engage in a war. They have paramilitaries to handle that. But they don't like attention. They don't like to be in the news, even though we know that they create a lot of the news. So they're back in the news. NextGov has a story about the CIA shelling out billions and billions of dollars to a consortium of about 5 usual suspect big tech companies to build a cloud service. We're going to put all our spy information, all this stuff we don't want the world to know about that's classified, up in the cloud, because that can't be hacked. For all we know, this could be complete BS, and they might just want to spend the money. We also we know that they don't like you to talk about them, and that's just what our friend Glenn Greenwald has been doing lately. He, of course, is the founder of The Intercept, who had to leave The Intercept that he founded because it was taken over by a bunch of utterly insane SJWs. But he's been correctly asserting that the CIA controls, if not all or much of the information that our news media runs with every day, every week. That's kind of universally true. Anywhere you have a secret police agency, they're going to get their hands in the news to try to spin it their way. And their way may not be the politicians' way. Lovely mess. This upset people at the CIA, and you have the laggards who are always behind, trying to defend the system. They're accusing Glenn of endangering lives of journalists because now, say Iran may look at a journalist from NBC or the Associated Press, which, by the way, called the 2020 election for Joe Biden, and they might say, well, this isn't a real journalist. This is a CIA operative, and he's putting lives in danger in an agency, in an area that's just known for danger. So, and known to create the danger if they can't, these people, if they can't find a monster, they'll make one and then complain about you noticing it. And now I come to a story that almost made the feature. This part, you might want to put your breakfast down. This could be a little unpleasant. I decided to push this down, and it's not the final word. The final word is cute and sweet to make up for this. But this next to the last word is cannibalism, and it's not quite sure how to present this. Don't want to go totally overboard, although your comments may want to be about this story. I'll just read you a news article from Germany. Berlin investigators have arrested a man on suspicion of murder and cannibalism. That means one human eating another human. Universally frowned upon for some reason, after discovering the bones of a man who disappeared in September. A man accused of eating a man, eating cannibalism. The suspect, reportedly a high school teacher, I'll bet it was a government high school too, is believed to have carried out a, what is this? Carried out a sexually motivated homicide, according to the public prosecutor. The suspect had an interest in cannibalism, as a lot of killers do for some reason. Who was the famous one recently in America that was the stupid little, the worthless school shooter from Palm Beach, whatever his name was, had an odd, macabre fascination with cannibalism. But anyway, prosecutors in Berlin told the Associated Press that he searched for this material online. I just want to reassert some things from what I've just read to you. A man and a man, sexual motivation, cannibalism. I'm just going to leave that right there. There's an acronym associated with a certain rainbow, and I'm just wondering at the end of that rainbow, do we need to add a C? Think about that. My friends on the right, God bless them, they're on the right track. They're usually a decade or two behind. How should I put this? The P as in Papa, in that acronym, that's not next, that's ongoing. They got legislation in California to make that legal. I think the C may be next for reasons such as you see hinted around in this German story. Not the first time this has been in the news. If you go back, do an archive search of The Atlantic, they're putting out the feelers for it. Right now it's funny, ha-ha stuff, kind of the way they've done with all the other issues, just trying to normalize it. And then the next thing you know, while you're still a decade or two behind, here it is. Far-fetched? My God, I hope so. I hope that would be the, if you're not against all this other stuff, maybe that one would finally get your attention. Run with that if you want to. We've got debt and cannibalism. But now we've got the final word. The final word is cute, because I want to leave you on a happy note. There was a little owl. It looks like a baby owl, but it's a full-grown owl, very small, palm of your hand kind of bird. It lived in a happy spruce tree somewhere up north. The spruce tree was cut down recently and trucked down to New York City, where it was featured behind the ice rink at Rockefeller Center, the annual Christmas tree. Well, I guess they were unwrapping the tree and they found the little bitty cute owl who was trapped. And now the owl is free and happy, rehabilitated. He lost his tree, but I'm sure he's getting a lot of attention and apparently has a fan club. I just linked to an NBC News story. You can find him all over, all kinds of pictures. He's about the cutest owl that I've ever seen. And I see that we are coming up on time. So, folks, I will see you back with another exciting feature or two that we can discuss tomorrow on Wednesday. Have a great day.